Hello, my name is Scott Spellmeyer. I'm a state instructor at Garden Grove Unified School District, and this young lady is Yesenia Cordone. She is also a state instructor. Today, we're here to teach you about how to do a pre-trip on a 2020 Thomas CNG 40-foot school bus.
Hello everyone, my name is Yesenia Cordone. I'm one of the instructors for Garden Grove Unified School District. Our goal is to teach you how to perform a pre-trip on a 2020 CNG Thomas.
Before we get started, there's a couple of things that we have to tell you about the Thomas school bus in order to get into it in certain situations, and there's interlock systems on it that will not allow you to start the bus in certain situations. So you have to know these in order to drive this school bus. You ready? We're going to go ahead and take a look. Okay, so the first thing that we need to know about is when we press this, my finger's a little sore today, we're going to go into this compartment, and this switch right here allows you to open the door. There's no lock on that door. You use the switch from here. It just opened the outside door, and you can close it back up when you're at a field trip or you're closing up for the night to secure the bus. The next one that we're going to be dealing with is an interlock system. The ignition interlock system right here will not allow you to start the ignition unless you have this door closed firmly. That button has to be suppressed. So if the bus doesn't start, that interlock system may be the culprit. Another thing that may cause your bus not to start in the morning is the battery disconnect switch right here. It's on the wall of the battery compartment, and you turn it to turn the bus on in the morning if there's no ignition. And there is another interlock system that will not allow your bus to start in the morning first thing. It is your back window here. If you open this window or it's not secured properly, the interlock system will not allow the ignition to be turned on. Another one back here is your back compartment here. Your back compartment, if this door is open, it will not allow the bus to start. And that's a safety feature to protect mechanics when they're working in the back from you starting the bus in the front. On this side of the bus, we also have a fuel compartment that you can fuel the bus on, and it also has an interlock system here. This interlock system, if the door is not closed properly, will not allow the bus to start first thing. Okay, there are also 3 interlock systems that could cause it not to start on the inside of the bus. Let me go show you. All right, so inside of the bus, we have 3 interlock systems that would cause your bus not to start first thing in the morning. The 2 emergency floor exits and the 1 window exit. And at the base of each one of these floor emergency level exits are a little latch. And if this latch is not securely in place, it will not allow the bus to stop. As we continue down, here's another floor level emergency exit, and it has the same type of system. The interlock system at the base, if you do not secure it back into place, then you will have a problem. You will not be able to start your bus. So make sure that it's in the right position. The final interlock system on here that could possibly keep your bus from starting is located on the rear emergency exit. If you look at the emergency exit and go down to here, you'll see 2 little items here, and there's a latch. If you turn it to the right, it locks it, and it will not allow your system to start. If you turn it to the left, it releases the interlock system, and you'll be able to start the bus.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get started. We're going to start from top to bottom. We're checking the overall exterior condition of the bus from left to right. I'm looking for any old or new damage. I'm also going to check underneath the bus, make sure that there's no puddles of any type of fluid and anything hanging, for example, hoses or belt. Now I'm going to come to the driver's side, and again, I'm checking from top to bottom, left to right, looking for any old or new damage. Continue checking. I have a cargo compartment here. I'm making sure that it is secure, which it is. Continue checking. I have a fuel compartment. I'm going to go ahead and open this fuel compartment because I need to make sure that my fuel cap is present and secure. And again, this is the interlock that Scott was talking about. I'm going to go ahead and close it. Continue checking. Again, like I said, from top to bottom. Now we come to the back. And again, I'm checking from left to right, top to bottom. This is my engine compartment in the back, and I'm gonna squat, look underneath, make sure that I don't have any leaks or anything hanging. Like I said before, we're looking for any belt or hoses. Continue checking, top to bottom, left to right. I have another cargo compartment here. I'm gonna check the same thing I checked on the other one, making sure that it is secure. Now I have another fuel compartment. I'm gonna go ahead and open. There's a couple of things here that I want to go over. First thing is my fuel cap. I'm making sure that it is present and secure. I also have a manual shutoff valve. And my fuel CNG gauge, it is sitting right now at 1600 PSI, which means pounds per square inch. And it also has an interlock too. I'm gonna go ahead and close it. Continue checking. And again, remember, I'm looking for old or new damage, okay? I come to the entrance door. I'm looking at all the rubber around, sealed, make sure there's no damage. My windows, it is sealed and not cracked. Next, we're gonna check our step wells. What we're looking for here, again, I'm looking for any damage, missing bolts or screws or any any lifted rubber. Before I come in, I wanna make sure my handrails are secure. Both handrails are secure. Now that I'm in here, I'm gonna check my modesty panels. I have 2 modesty panels, okay? Again, I'm checking that they are secure. Next, I'll be checking my head guard. Also checking that they are secure to the bus. Next, I want to check my 292. What is 292? It's your inspection approval certificate. There's a couple of things that I'm looking for here. And I want to make sure that it is marked for school bus, which it is. And this company ID is 38. It matches my bus number. I can see it in my crossview mirrors. It is signed by CHP. The last 4 numbers of my VIN is 0710. I want to make sure that it matches my chassis, and it does. It is right here, 0710. Then I'm going to look at the date when it was certified. It was certified 4/28/2020. It is good for 13 months. Next time it'll be due on 5/28/2021. Next, I want to check my passenger capacity. For this bus, it's 81 passengers, 0 wheelchairs. It does not include the driver, and it's both in English and Spanish. Another thing that you're going to find here is your registration. What we're looking for when we check our registration is for the date. Make sure that it's valid until 12/31/2099. Now that we finished checking our 292 and our registration, we're going to go ahead and continue to check our emergency equipment. This is my emergency equipment compartment. It is labeled, and in here you're going to find your first aid kit, and you're also going to find your fire extinguisher. I will be checking my first aid kit first. I want to go ahead and open, and I'm checking for my rubber seal. This is to prevent dust and moisture. I also have an insurance form. What I'm looking for here is make sure that it is valid, and this one expires 7/1/2021. And for this passenger capacity, I need to have 24 units. So you're going to count them: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24 units. Once I'm done counting, I'm going to go ahead and close the first aid kit and put it back where it belongs. Next, I'm going to go ahead and check my fire extinguisher. Before you pull the fire extinguisher out, you want to make sure that the bracket is in good condition. Once you pull your fire extinguisher out, you want to check the nozzle. Make sure there's no debris, nothing obstructing the nozzle. My pin, make sure that it is secure. Want to make sure that it is charged, and the way I can tell that it's charged is that the yellow arrow is in the green. Now I'm looking at the my fire extinguisher tag. Make sure that it is signed by State Fire Marshal. It was certified July 28th, 2020, and it's good for 1 year. Next, very important thing that I want to check in my fire extinguisher is the rating. If you go to the UL circle here, right underneath that, you're going to find the rating. And for this one here is a 3840 BC. I'm required to have not less than 8 BC. Go ahead and put it away. Next, I'll be checking my reflective triangles. I'm required to have 3 reflective triangles. Each day you're going to check a different one. And what I want to do here is I want to make sure that it's not broken. Set one up. Make sure it stands on its own, which it does. And I'm also checking for any sand leaks here, okay? Now we're going to check our 18-inch handheld stop sign, and what we're looking for is that it's legible on both sides and it's not broken.
Okay, I'm going to take over from Yesenia now, and I'm going to check the driver's compartment. In order to check the driver's compartment, we need to first check the seat to make sure it's secured. Once it's secured, we sit down. So once I sit down, I'm checking for proper adjustment of the seat, that it's adjusted to me. I check to make sure that it is adjustable up and down and back and forward, which is legally required by law. Once that's in place, I'm going to go ahead and check my seat belt. The seat belt must work properly, and it has to be in good condition, no frays, no damage. We're going to go ahead and take that off so we can continue on from here. Next, I'm going to cover my service brake, and I'm going to go ahead and start the bus. I'm going to turn the lights on in order to keep the child check from going off. Cover the service brake, start the bus. We will need this so that when we are checking all the gauges, they are accurate and working properly. When you check a school bus and do a pre-trip, you can do it with any method you want, but we are going to use a method that I like, and that's from the outside in and from top to bottom. Okay? But again, you can do it any way you want as long as you check everything. So we're going to start with the outside exterior flat mirror, and we need to check it for adjustment. We have adjustment knobs right here. We want to see 200 feet to the rear, 1 inch of the side of the bus, and the rear duals touching the ground, which I can see no problem here. My next mirror down is my convex mirror. That is used to help eliminate blind spots and allows us to see things that we probably couldn't see very well in the flat mirror. Then I like to go to my interior flat to get all my mirrors out of the way. My interior flat should be adjusted so I can see from the back panel all the way to the emergency exit, the top of it, and out the side so that I can see the children doing anything that needs to be done when I'm driving, that they're doing when I'm driving. My next mirror that I'm going to check is my right flat exterior mirror. That one needs to be adjusted 200 feet to the rear, and I want to see 1 inch of the side of the bus. In this situation, the mirror is very far from us, so we can't see the rear duals touching the ground in that mirror, so I use my convex mirror to be able to see the rear duals touching the ground, and I can help eliminate any blind spots that are there. And my last mirrors that I'm checking, in this bus we have 2 cross view mirrors. I want them adjusted so I can see the entire front bumper all the way to the ground, and I'd like to have them adjusted so that we can see 12 feet in front. It's not legally required, but that is the danger zone, so we want to be able to see the little critters running underneath the bus if they're there. Okay? Alright, so next thing I'm going to check as I come in is my driver's windows to make sure that they open and close properly. And they do. And then I'm going to work my way from the top to the right. Right here we have a fire suppression system. Talk to your trainer if you have one to learn how it works so that if you need to fire it off because there's a fire in your engine compartment, you'll know how to do it. Next thing I'm going to check is my visor to make sure it is adjustable and secure. I have 2 fans that are secure. Then I'm going to come down to my windshields. My windshields are sealed properly and there's no cracks. That's great. My next level is going to be my steering wheel level. So I'm checking for steering wheel free play. What's steering wheel free play? It's when the steering wheel grabs and starts to turn the tires. We should not have more than 2 inches of wheel play. That's a 20-inch wheel, 10% of it is 2 inches. And you just move it from here to there. As soon as it starts to grab, you know that you've got good wheel play. This has about 1 inch. If it goes from here to there, you've got a problem down the bus. Next thing I've got here is my horn. My electric horn. I've got my left turn signal, my right turn signal, my high beams, and my windshield wipers. I've got them on intermittent, low, higher, and high. And I can press them for fluid. You should always check them every morning to make sure they work. Then I have 4-way flashers. The 4-way flashers are working properly. Turn them off. And then I've got an adjustment on the steering column. I can telescope it, or I can move it up and down for my adjustment so that I'm comfortable when I'm driving. The next level, I'm going to start checking my switches, then I'll check my gauges. Make sure that's off. My first two switches are my air conditioning control knobs. I have temperature control on the right side of each one, and I've got the fan speed on the left side of each one, high, low, off. Over here, I go down, I've got my mirror adjustments for my upper flat mirrors, and I've got my interior lights, my rear interior lights. I check in my rear view mirror, they work. My middle interior lights are working, and my driver's dome light is working. Over here, I've got luggage bay lights, so at nighttime I can turn on the luggage bay light if I have to load or unload something into it. I've also got mirror defrosters if it's foggy or wet out, and I've got a strobe light on top of the bus. It's a little light that's, that we can turn on at 500 feet when the atmospheric conditions are reduced to less than 500 feet. We can go out and look at it, or we can look in the reflection on the other buses to be able to see that it's working properly. I've also got a heater pump, a heater, got it on high and higher, and then off, and I've got a heater pump. This circulates antifreeze from the engine up into the driver's compartment and the passenger compartment to heat up the bus quicker. All right, and then I've got my fans. They work on low, high, and off. In low, high, and off. I've got my override switch for my 8-light system. I have my amber lights, and then I've got my red lights that will go on. I've also got a door switch, which I'll do later. I open and close, and I check the light to make sure that it works properly. And then I've got my air horn, very loud, and I've got my clearance markers. They're up and on right now, and I've got a noise suppression switch. The noise suppression switch turns off the fans and the radio when we're at railroad tracks or situations where we need to hear things properly. Then you just turn it back off. I'm going to come across to my front panel here, and first thing I've got is a retarder. The retarder is turned on by this retarder switch, and then it has a lever here that has 7 different adjustments on it, so when you're in the mountains you can slow the bus down to where you want to. Okay, then we have drain tanks here. We have the primary drain tank, the secondary drain tank, the auxiliary drain tank, and the wet tank, which is also the supply tank. So as we come across further, we have a panel dimmer switch. At night we can raise the level of the lights on the dash up or down. As we come across over here, we have our headlights, which are on, and on this bus they have a unique feature. You can adjust your pedals. You can push it for shorter people or taller people so that it's comfortable for you to drive. And then you have an anti-spin device here, so if you get stuck in mud or in water or ice and your wheels are spinning, you put this on, the computer will assist you. Next thing we've got over here is our shift pad. The shift pad has different settings on it, and it's indicated by lights up here. The reverse is here, and the cool thing about the reverse is we have a reverse camera up here. When you push reverse, wait 3 seconds, look up at your rear view mirror, and it will put the reverse view on there. Make sure you cancel it when you're done. We have a neutral, we have a drive, back to neutral. We have a mode switch. This is will allow the bus to shift faster and reduce to increase fuel economy. And then we have the up and down shift button if we need to do that while we're shifting in the mountains. Then I have my display here for my speedometer, and my tachometer is the engine speed, and my speedometer is my road speed. So we have a graduation on the tachometer, and they're in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So and they're multiplied by 100 RPMs. So if I'm looking at it right now, I'm at 750 RPMs. I have a fuel gauge that's at just a little bit above or below half. I have my oil pressure gauge, which shows that it's just above half, so it should be normally between 30 and 50. And you can tell if it's working properly by pushing on the gas, and you'll see the oil arrow move up and down. All right. I've also got a high beam light here. I've got my parking brake light, and in order to check my warning lights, and you can do that when you're doing your pre-trip, you turn off the engine and turn it back on, and they will appear above here. If any of these warning lights come on when you're driving, you need to stop the bus and check them out. So learn what your warning lights are, talk to your trainer at that time. I've got my speedometer. They're also graduation up to 90 miles per hour. We will check that when we're driving. All right, and then we have the water temperature. The water temperature on this bus usually runs between 170 and 210 depending on the type of thermostat that's installed in the bus. And then we have the transmission temperature gauge, and this will show you what the temperature is at up to 250, where the warning light will come on and tell you that you've got a problem. And it will happen a lot when you're using your retarder and you're coming down the hill and you have a retarder on full. It'll hit 250, the warning light will come on, and then of course you'll pull over, or you just turn off the retarder and use your proper braking method. And then we have a display panel here that tells you all the other information you need to know. Volts, our battery is charging at 13.8. It should be between 12 and 14. It tells us our fuel pressure. Yesenia showed you the gauge outside. Well, this is the interior gauge, and it's showing that it's at 1,422 pounds per square inch. Our fuel is measured by pounds per square inch in these buses. If it gets below 800 or 900, it starts to show a low fuel light. So you need to be careful about that. And some of these buses have an issue where they'll start to shut off at that time. So talk to your mechanic and see what the problem is. And it tells you your fuel economy. And then you have two buttons right here on the dash that allow you to toggle through and see other information you possibly need to know. And then we've got our air gauges over here. We have one air gauge with two needles. The primary is your green needle, and the secondary tank, your front tank, is your red needle. Currently we're at 102 on the secondary tank and 111 on the primary tank. Let's come on down here now. There's a few more gauges. We've got our defroster. This is the fan for the defroster. We've got low, medium, and high. And this is the temperature gauge for the defroster and the heater, so you can determine how hot you want it. And then you've got your heater fan control switch at low, medium, and high, and then back off again. And then over here, we've got our cruise control, which you can set. It's simple. You push it, you go up to the speed you want, you push the set, and it will keep the bus at that speed until you touch the brake or turn it off. And we also have a high idle here. We just push this, and we push the high idle button, the cruise control button, and it will raise it up to where you want to, and then you push it to stop it. There's an indicator on the dash, a green indicator that shows that your high idle is on. Okay, we'll cancel that. This is your ignition switch, your parking brake, which is currently on, and your AM/FM radio. And last but not least, we have our pedals on the ground. You always want to check them to make sure that they are working properly, that no bolts have fallen out and they fall apart on you, okay? Just a little safety precaution. Well, I think that was it for our driver's compartment. I'm going to let Yesenia take over and show us our passenger compartment.
Okay, now that we are done checking the driver's compartment, we're going to move on to checking the passenger compartment. And I'm going to start with the ceiling. I'm looking that there's no damage. I'm also going to be checking my light covers, make sure that they are not broken. I have luggage rack that it is secure. My AC unit, it is also secure. I'll be checking the top of the seats, and I'm also checking that they are secure. This bus is equipped with seat belts, so I will be checking seat belts too. Seat belt working properly. By the end of the week, I'll be done checking most of the seat belts, okay? Next, I'm gonna be checking a window. Make sure it goes up and down, and it does. Again, I'm gonna check 2 windows in the front, 1 on each side, and 2 in the back, okay? Checking the window, make sure that it goes up and down. Now I'm gonna check another seat belt on this side. Remember, you're gonna check 2 seat belts in the front and 2 in the back. Okay, continue checking the top of the seat. Luggage rack is secure. I have an emergency exit hatch. What I'm looking for here is that all instructions are clearly marked. That means that it's legible. And the way we're gonna check the emergency exit hatch is you're gonna push out. You're gonna turn the lever to the left. You're gonna push out. And I can hear the emergency exit light. Now I need to go to the front and look. I want to make sure that the warning light for my emergency exit is on. And it is. Come back. Close your emergency exit hatch. And it is closed. Continue checking the tops of the seats. Make sure that they are secure. I have a floor level emergency exit door. Again, what I'm looking for here is that the head guard is secure. All instructions are clearly marked. I'm gonna go ahead and open this emergency exit because I need to be able to hear and see the warning light. Okay? Same thing. I can hear it. I'm gonna go to the front. Make sure that the emergency Come back to your door and close it. Next, we're going to be checking our jump seat. What we're looking for here is that your jump seat goes back to the folding position. I'm going to continue to check the top of the seats. Again, I have an AC unit here that I want to make sure that it is secure. At the same time, you're checking your light covers, luggage racks, make sure that they are also secure. And I have another emergency exit floor level door. Again, you'll be checking that the head guard is secure and all instructions are clearly marked. You're going to open the lever. And for every emergency exit that you open, you need to go to the front to make sure that the light comes on, warning you that your emergency exit is open. And again, you have a jump seat here. Check your jump seat. Make sure that it goes back to the folding position. Continue checking the tops of the seats. Now you're going to choose a window in the back, one on each side, and you're checking that your window open and closes, and it does. By the end of the week here, you should be done checking all windows, okay? Continue checking. Now I come to another emergency exit hatch. I'm checking that all my instructions are clearly marked. Again, you're going to open it. Turn the lever to the left, push out, go to the front, make sure the light comes on, come back here, close it. Continue checking the tops of the seats. Now my last emergency exit. Again, I'm checking that my head guard is secure. My emergency exit lettering signs are clearly marked. I have a handle that I'm gonna lift. I can hear it. Make sure you go to the front to check that the light comes on. Come back here, close your emergency exit. Now, on our way back to the front, I want to check the bottoms of the seats. Now I want to make sure that they are secure. At the same time, I'm checking my floor, make sure that it's clean, that I don't have any damage to my floor. The way we're going to check the bottoms of the seats is side, front, and you're going to do that with every seat. Side, front. You're lifting. Lift the side, lift the front, side, front, side, front. Don't forget to make sure that you're looking at the floor as well. Make sure that there's no damage to your floor, okay? Continue checking. Now that we are done checking our passenger compartment, we are going to get ready to go outside and check our first set of lights. But before we do that, make sure you wear gloves, you have your tire thumper, and we're going to go ahead and turn on our lights. So I'm going to turn on my headlights, and along with my headlights, I'm going to have my high beams, left turn indicator, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on my ambers. Make sure that they are working. Make sure you have your tire thumper before you go outside. Another thing that you want to check before you go outside is your manual operation. If your door, your entrance door, doesn't open with the door switch, you can put this on emergency, which becomes your manual operation. Push the door out. Now that we're out here, we're standing in front of the bus. Again, we're going to start with the top from left to right. First thing I want to check is my clearance lights. Make sure that they're on and working. Next, I'm going to check my school bus lettering and bus number. Make sure that they are legible. And I'm also going to be checking my amber lights. Checking that they're on. Next, I'll be checking my left turn indicator. Make sure that it's working. And I have my high beams. Again, I'm checking that they are working. With the engine on, you'll also want to check underneath the bus. Make sure that there's no leaks. Anything fluids. Now we're going to come to the front and check our mirror brackets, making sure that they are secure. I have another mirror bracket here. Same thing. I'm checking that it is secure. Next, I'll be checking the windshield wiper. Make sure that it has good tension and that there's no damage. Make sure you check both. Next, I'm going to be checking my indicator cover lights. Make sure that they are secure. Headlights are also secure. And my license plate. You also want to make sure that your license plate is secure to the bus and also your front bumper, okay? Now I'm going to come to the driver's side. Again, we're starting from top to bottom. Clearance light is working. I have a reflector here. What I'm checking is to make sure that it is secure, not broken. I have a bus number, legible, bus 38. Now I'm going to check my front tire. I'm going to start by checking the tire guard. I want to make sure that it is secure. Also, my mud flap, make sure that it's secure. Next, I'm going to check my tire tread depth in the front. It cannot be not less than 4/32. Check all the way across. Next, I'm going to check the wall, make sure that there's no cuts or bulges. My rim, there's no damage. I'm going to now check my lug nuts. Check all lug nuts. We're checking, making sure that they are tight and secure. My hub nuts in the front. Again, I'm checking that they are tight and secure, and you have a hub seal here. What I'm looking for is that there's no oil leaks coming out of your hub seal. Last thing I'm going to check is my valve stem, making sure that it is present, secure, no air leaks. And my tire inflation, checking for proper tire inflation. Next, I'll be checking my left turn indicator. It is working and not broken. Continue checking. Now I come to my emergency exit door. I'm making sure that it is clearly marked, all instructions. I'm going to go ahead and open the emergency exit door. I can hear the warning. Okay, what I'm looking for here is that there's no obstructions, that the seal is no damage, and I'm also going to check my star lock, make sure that it's working, which it is. Next, I'm going to be checking Garden Grove Unified School District name. It is clearly marked, legible, along with my California ID. And I have a reflector here that it's not broken. And a clearance light that it's also on, not broken. Okay, I'm going to continue checking from top to bottom. I have a left turn indicator. Again, I'm checking, making sure that it's on and not broken. My rear duals, again, I'm checking, making sure that my tire guard is secure, which it is. I also have a mud flap, gonna make sure that it is secure. In the rear, my tire tread depth has to be not less than 2/32. Check both tires all the way across. With your tire thumper, you're gonna check in between your duals, and what you're checking for is for any obstructions, any debris. You're also going to check the wall, make sure there's no cuts or bulges. The rim, there's no damage. Now I'm going to check my lug nuts, make sure all lug nuts are tight and secure. And these are axle nuts in the back, okay? Also checking that they are tight and secure. I have 2 valve stems, checking that they are present and that they are secure and no air leaks. Next, I'm going to be checking the proper tire inflation. You have to check both, okay? 1, 2. And since I'm here, I also want to look at my dry shaft guard. I'm checking that it is present and not broken. Continue checking. I have a clearance light that it's on, not broken. I also have a reflector that is not missing or broken. In the back or the rear, we're going to start with our clearance lights, making sure that they're on and not broken. Next, I'll be checking my amber lights. Both lights are flashing. All my school bus lettering, emergency exit instructions, and numbers are clearly marked. I also have a left turn indicator, making sure that it's on and working. And these right here would be my tail lights. Tail lights. I have reflectors that I'm making sure that they are secure. And I have a bumper, also making sure that my bumper is secure. And my exhaust pipe is flushed or even with my bumper. With the engine on, I'm also checking, making sure that there's no leak and nothing hanging. Okay, continue checking. Clearance light is on, not broken. So is my reflector, not broken or missing. Continue checking from top to bottom. When you come to the rear passenger side duals, you're gonna say the same thing that you said on that side, you're gonna say here. Remember, start with your tire guard, mud flap, and continue. Continue checking. Emergency exit. Same thing that you checked on that side, you're gonna check on this side, okay? Clearance light on, not broken. Reflectors not missing, not broken. Continue checking. Again, we come to the front passenger side tire. You're gonna do the same thing. The same thing you check on the driver's side, you're gonna check passenger side. Starting with the tire guard, left flag. You also have a clearance light that it's on and a reflector that is not missing, your bus number that it's legible. Now that we're done checking the that set of lights, we're gonna go ahead and cancel the lights that we already checked. So that means that from left turn indicator, I'm gonna go to right turn indicator. From high beams, I'm gonna go to low beams and cancel the ambers and turn on my red lights. Want to also make sure that my stop arm is deployed. Now I'm gonna prop my service brake, and the way you're gonna prop the service brake is with your tire thumper. You're gonna move the driver's seat forward, and with your tire thumper, you're gonna press down on your service brake against the driver's seat. Okay. Now we're gonna check our red lights, make sure that they are working, they're flashing. I also have a right turn indicator that it's working. Now I'm gonna check my stop arm, making sure that it's secured to the bus. It's legible on both sides, which it is, and lights are also flashing on both sides. Now we're gonna check our red lights, make sure that they are working, they're flashing. I also have a right turn indicator that it's working, and my tail lights now became my service brake lights. As you can see, they are brighter. Right turn indicator, it is on. Right turn indicator, it is also on, working. Now that we're done checking those lights, now we're gonna go ahead and cancel the lights that we already checked. Okay, remove the tire thumper. And we are gonna go ahead and, before you put it in gear, go ahead and press on your service brake. Put it in reverse, okay? You're gonna go ahead and turn on your hazard lights, make sure they're working. And at this point, what you wanna do is turn off the engine and do a quick key on. So your reverse lights stay on, and you're gonna proceed to go outside to check your hazard lights and reverse lights. Okay. Hazard lights are working. Hazard lights working. And side hazard light is also working. Okay, now in the back, I'm checking my hazard lights are working, and these are my reverse lights. Reverse lights, I can see them and I can hear them too. Checking hazard lights, make sure that they are working. And side hazard light is also working. At this point, I'm gonna turn it over to Scott. Let Scott take over.
So now that the third walk around's been completed, we're gonna come back into the bus. We're going to sit down in the driver's seat. We're going to put on the seatbelt because at some point we are going to be starting the bus up and rolling forward, so we need the seatbelt in place. And now we're going to cover the service brake, make sure that the entry door is closed, start up the bus. We are going to be doing our dual air 121 brake system check. The first thing that we're going to be doing is looking at our gauges, our air gauges. We want to see if they're moving. If they are moving, we're going to let it build up to cut out. If they are not moving, we're going to start with the cut in. So we're looking at our gauges right now. Our secondary tank is sitting at 110, 120, at 120, and our primary gauge is at 129. So they are stationary, so I will begin with my governor cut in. The rule is that the governor must cut in by 85 psi and cut out by 130. So we're going to check for the governor cut in by pressing on the service brake, looking at our needles to see where they are. Right now our secondary is at 110 and our primary is at about 114. They are not moving. Press down again. Our needles have settled at 100 for the secondary and 108 for the primary. They're starting to build up, so that was a good test. Our next test is going to be cut out. It must cut out by 130 pounds per square inch. The needles are building. If they were to continue past the 130, there's a problem with the governor. And we have a safety valve that is on the bus that will activate at 150, so in case the governor breaks and allows the compressor to continue to build air into the system, it will allow the air to be depleted from the air tanks at 150. So it's still building. We're waiting to see that the needles stop moving. Also hear that, but we always want to see the needles stop moving. So our needles cut out at, our secondary cut out at 121, and our primary cut out at 129, so it's a good test. Our next test that we're going to do is for air leakage. It's called a static test. The static test is done by covering the service brake, turning off the ignition, turning it back on so the needles settle. Once the needles settle, I determine where they are at, and then I start my 1 minute. So the needles have settled. They are at, my secondary is at 112, and my primary is at 115. So my minute starts now. I cannot lose more than 2 pounds per square inch in 1 minute length of time. And I'm checking for leaks in my lines, my tanks, and my valves, all the way from my service brake back to my compressor. So for our purposes, the 1 minute is up. I look back at my needles, and I'm still at 112 on the secondary and 115 on the primary. I have 0 air loss. It was a good test. My next test is going to be the applied test. On the applied test, we're going to check the leaks with pressure on the system. So we are going to cover the service brake lightly so we don't roll. We're going to release the parking brake. Then we're going to push down hard on the service brake. We're going to let the needles settle. Once they've settled, and they have settled at, my secondary is at 102, and my primary is at 110. My minute starts now. The rule is that I cannot lose more than 3 pounds per square inch in 1 minute of time, and I am checking the entire system from top to bottom with compressed air, all the way from my service brake out to my brake shoes. So for our purposes, our minute is up now. I'm going to look back at my needles and determine where they're at. My secondary is still at 102, and my primary is at 110. I have 0 air loss. It's a good test. At that point in time, I apply the parking brake, and now I am going to check for my low air warning device. I'm going to start to pump the brake. I have to have an audio and visual warning device on the dash by 60 psi. There it is. We have audio and visual for my primary at 71, and my secondary at 64. So it's a good test. There is another way of testing that, and it's called splitting of the tanks. Splitting of the tanks is done when you want to check each tank individually to see when the low air warning device comes on, to check that the double check valve is working, and we actually physically move the bus to see if when one tank is drained, the other one will stop the bus. But we are going to be using the pump down method today. Okay, so it was a good test. We're going to go ahead and cover our service brake. We're going to fire up the bus, and we're going to build the air back up to at least 100 pounds per square inch. And the next test we are going to check is what we call the parking brake test. We are going to do 3 in-lot stop tests. First one is the parking brake test, where we will use the push, roll, pull method. We will build it up to 100 pounds per square inch. We will put the bus into drive, release the parking brake, roll forward, taking our foot off the service brake, and stop the bus using the parking brake to make sure that the parking brake, the spring brake system, is adjusted properly to stop the bus in case of an emergency. Our next test, we will release the parking brake. We put the bus back into drive, release the parking brake, and we will roll forward with our hands lightly on the wheel. And we will apply the service brake this time firmly to see if the bus will pull to the left or pull to the right. If it does, that indicates that we have a brake adjustment problem on the front brakes, and we will down that bus. We don't want to be driving like that. And the third and final test, which we required in our yard, is that we, again, put the bus into drive, release the parking brake, roll forward, and press the brake as normal with hands gripped properly on the wheel, and listen and feel for any discrepancies or problems with the brakes. If everything is okay, then we're good to go. Okay, so we are currently at 100 pounds per square inch or above on both of our tanks, so we're going to go ahead and do the first test. Okay, so we're going to push, roll, pull. We're going to drive, leave.
Couple boys clock out about 5:35, trying to put a little hammer in their head. Standing in the liquor store staring at a fifth, but they pick up a handle instead.
This concludes our pre-trip for a 2020 Thomas Safetyliner. We hope you learned something, and we'd like to thank
Couple girls with their
family
boots
for
on,
filming
got their
this and putting up with
Bluetooth on, t-shirts.
You have a great day.
Say go Sooners.
Practice your pre-trip.
Then
Be
the
safe.
girl from the small town took off the old town, put on a little Hank Jr. Hell right. She got all her rowdy friends coming over tonight. Hell right, hell right. Everybody's throwing down on a Friday night somewhere in America. There's a bottle to burn and a fire to light, and you ain't done nothing if you did it halfway. If you're gonna raise hell, then you better damn raise hell right, hell right, hell right. There's a guitar on the ground that was making some sound till somebody pulled a hillbilly slip. Now there's fog on the window. She never would have kissed him if he didn't play a lick like this. Hell right. Hell right. Hell